So, hey there. You know that feeling where you're moving through your life, right? You're doing everything you're supposed to do, and yet there's this quiet ache. You might feel it in your chest, you might feel it in your heart, or maybe just a little bit of frustration in your body saying that there's something more, right? Like you're watching yourself from the outside performing your life instead of actually living it. I mean, you look at the job, you look at your home, you look at relationships, the routines, and you think, this should feel like my life, but it just, I don't know, it's like, it almost just feels off, right? Somehow your life just doesn't feel like yours anymore. Have you ever had that feeling?
Yeah, it's this feeling of not feeling like yourself anymore. Like you keep looking at your life and realizing that it's not holding an energy that feels exciting. And so you can feel like you're lost your mojo or that you just want that spark back in yourself and reaching back for the things that we did before is is not going to be the best way to change here and to get to understand the reason why you don't feel like yourself.
Yeah, and it's like you don't know how to say it, right? You don't know how to say it out loud without
Hmm.
like sounding ungrateful or sounding kind of dramatic, right? So you keep going and you hold it all together and you stay responsible. But something inside of you, it's just whispering, like, I just don't feel like myself anymore. And I know a
Hmm.
lot of people feel this way in midlife, right? In our 50s, 60s, we feel this sense of like, everything that I used to do just doesn't give me that same excitement anymore.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there
Yeah.
it's a real thing. And it's we also say like, why can't I just get back to that person that I used to be? And
Hmm.
you don't say that out loud. Well, some people do say that out loud.
Yeah, they
Um,
do.
and it's at the same time, it's really silly. Like, I'm never going to be that, you know, 20-year-old or that 30-year-old. I'm 53 years old. But
Right.
in general, I'm walking in the world and I feel stable. I feel like a mature woman. And
Hmm.
that almost makes it feel harder
Yeah.
because the ache that we feel doesn't have a story that
Hmm.
actually makes sense for
Yeah.
most people. It's just
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and then so we just start, it's like an invisible thing that we don't know. So then we keep going back through the same pathways, looking for, a new way to feel energized or to feel engaged. And sometimes it can show up like you're going out with a group of friends and you're in conversation and you're like, this isn't doing anything for me anymore. And then you feel bad because you care about these people, right? Those are all the different ways it kind of shows up. It's just this thing underneath that is happening. And it's really powerful to acknowledge that when it's happening because we can tell you more information about this. So now you don't feel alone.
Yeah, and the,
Yeah.
the thing the thing that people keep trying that make it worse
Mm,
is they pretend that they're fine. They
mm,
pretend that, like everything is just fine. Or they even push harder, right? They try
mm-hmm,
different things and so they're using that old behavior of pushing harder to get through it. Or
mm-hmm,
they say to themselves, "Well, I just need to be grateful." Right? I need to
yeah.
just be grateful. But instead, they need to be truthful, right? To
Yeah.
get back to the root of who you are, it's not about just being grateful, because that's kind of slapsticking, some kind of fix,
Mm-hmm,
just like we used to do with our productivity hacks, right? Like just
yeah.
fix it. And so
Yep.
it's like, well, I should just be grateful.
Yeah.
Other people have it worse than me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We rationalize it. We try to go into gratitude practices. Like, I should just be happy with what I have. and yet that thing is still there.
Yeah.
And I've heard, so many women talk about that, and I've also seen women just keep talking about it and not understanding what is really happening. So, Suzanne, what do you think is happening?
Yeah. Well, they're definitely not lost. They're
Mm-hmm.
not they're not confused. They're not broken. They think they are. They think
Mm-hmm.
they're lost. They think they're confused. They think they're broken. But
Mm-hmm.
actually, they're evolving. And
Ooh.
their system is telling them it's time to stop performing the person that you learned how to be and become the person you actually are. And
Mm.
that is, it's not a sometimes we call it a midlife crisis, but
Mm-hmm.
it's actually a return to ourselves because we
Mm.
don't need to perform. We don't need to prove ourselves. I think when we were younger, we were performing and we were proving ourselves to kind of make a name for ourselves or to prove our existence in our
Yeah.
homes, in our work, in the
Yes.
world, right?
Yes.
But it feels like this is such an opportunity to come back home to yourself,
Mm.
where it's like a returning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a
Mm-hmm.
crisis, it's a
Yeah.
returning. And
Yeah.
that takes support to be able to have people support you to return back to yourself. Because most people outside of you will say, you've changed. You're not the person, da 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 da,
Yes,
and it's
yes,
like,
yes, yeah.
you
Which
know,
even drives that question forward to yourself. Is like, well, then who am I? And you know what? I don't really want to go back to what people want me to be. And I think it's a really powerful time. And I love that you said that we're not broken. And I think that is such a relief for a woman that is feeling this to hear. It's just a transition, it's a different approach. And that way that we've been in the past, where maybe a lot of our strategies were around approval or success or wanting to fit in, those we outgrow. And I think we don't understand that this feeling of not feeling like yourself anymore is because you've just outgrown that.
yeah, and it's this identity that you built to survive your earlier life because
Yes.
there was a lot of survival, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
even just think about a woman in general, it's like if they're wanting to have children, well they're wanting to attract the right mate so that they can have a family with, right? So they're
Yeah.
kind of in this survival of like I want to, I want to build a family. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a survival instinct, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that identity was one who was maybe more complicit, maybe one who wanted to just keep the peace so that they could keep the man, or the
Yeah.
one who was responsible and or they earned love by being, strong and capable and reliable and useful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I know for myself, that identity worked for decades.
Mm-hmm.
People love to be like, oh, yeah, she's strong. She's got it. No problem. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
now that identity, it's almost like it's too tight, like clothes that you used to wear and then they don't
Mm-hmm.
fit anymore because, you
Mm-hmm.
just have a different body.
Yeah.
And we outgrow the self that we built to get us here. But
Yeah.
that we built, it actually has to crumble. It
Mm-hmm.
has to dismantle, but not
Mm-hmm.
in a way, it doesn't have to be dramatic. It
Yeah.
can be dramatic. I
Yeah.
know that, there's certain life cycles in our lives that kind of almost like a hormonal shift that will force you to shift and change and grow because you
Mm-hmm.
just can't hold everything together in
Yeah.
your brain. So the brain is changing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The body is changing, the brain is changing, our desires um, that we may have had a long time ago that we shelved to do all these things in our life, that might really start resurfacing in this place where the old identity doesn't work anymore and it's not in alignment with where you want to go forward. But I think a lot of us just get confused here, we get disoriented, and we start reaching, reaching, reaching. And that just confirms the old identity to try to keep working it. And so being able to notice, I know that I've had a lot of women describe it to me that it just felt like old clothes that they didn't want to wear anymore. And sometimes it literally is old clothes because it's like, that's what I wore when I was, a CEO there, or that's what I wore when I was a mom at home, right? So it goes all the way to what we can see and what is inside of us.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's got this really interesting conflict because you want to feel like yourself again,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to feel like your old self because
Yeah.
your old self and feeling like yourself are two different things.
Ooh, yeah.
It's very subtle. It's very subtle. And it's almost like you can kind of feel it under the surface of all the performance, right? It's almost like it's okay. This is going to sound a little bit like weird, but you almost can feel yourself and then also like see yourself feeling yourself. So it's almost like this, you're observing, when you know that you just said something and it didn't come out quite right.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're hearing yourself inside your head, but you're also there's an awareness about you that's like, yeah, that's not what I was trying to say. And it
Yeah.
actually that looked really fake, for
Mm-hmm.
example. And then
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? That I didn't really mean that. That just wasn't really what I really wanted to say. This is what I
Mm-hmm.
really wanted to say. So it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like you have this like there's this old self that is kind of like eking through trying to have a word in, and then there's like this real self that's like, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you want to
Mm-hmm.
feel at home in your skin, right?
Yeah.
You want
Yes.
to be able to speak directly without overthinking, and you
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to know what you want
Mm-hmm.
and not apologize for it anymore. So it
Yeah.
seems like there's this little conflict going on where sometimes that little complicit or people pleaser is still trying to run the show, but then you're
Mm-hmm.
like, your today person is
Uh-huh.
like, yeah,
No.
nah.
No. Not doing that anymore. And
No,
sometimes it might even eke out, like it might have such a strong voice that it's said out loud to somebody. And then you're like, oh shit, I said that. It actually came out of me. That is that new identity that is trying to emerge and assist you into what's next for you.
totally.
And that is really exciting. And that's, I think, our message today, I think, is so powerful because this doesn't mean you have to blow up your life and quit your job. And, you can continue to have a secure and stable life. But if it is not serving the identity that you want moving forward is to be a woman who's energized, who has her mojo, but she's not reaching back to get it how she got it before. It's her understanding forward. How do I grab that mojo as I work with this transition with myself? And this is so exciting because I know that this is needed because a lot of our women are just sitting at home or sitting in their jobs feeling this feeling and not having any words to it. And that's what we really want to do today so that you don't feel alone and that you can be offered the support and help you need walking through this.
Totally, because
Yeah.
this is the best time in our lives to feel fully alive. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you're not censoring yourself, trying to fit in, trying to be like whatever we were trying to do to be in that survival mode, we're not
Mm-hmm.
in survival mode anymore. We are
Yeah.
in the most potent time to be fully alive. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that is why midlifers are like, I just want to feel alive again, because
Yeah.
that's what this opportunity is beckoning us forward, is saying, like, it's time to feel alive again
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you are at your prime and this
Mm-hmm.
is this is only going to get better.
Hmm.
Kind of
And
like a little
so,
bit of a fountain of youth,
yeah, oh,
actually, right?
totally. I mean, I'm sure you've seen people that you haven't seen in a while and you kind of know their age and you're like, what is going on over there? They look 20 years younger, right? And it's not that we're chasing youth, but having vitality brings us into a space where we don't have the baggage of trying to be all the things that we've been and trying to continue those roles that we've been. And it is really exciting. And women have so much to say and so much to offer and so many experiences that were hard earned from all of those identities that you had. Being able to take all of that magic inside of you and moving forward into a higher expression of yourself is powerful.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so
Yeah.
moving from, where you are and where you want to go and getting through this what's next gap, it's great to have, guides like us to help you through this. So just head on over to thesignalcode.com and we can set up a conversation and, just get on the next step, that next power move.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Till next
Bye.
time. We'll see you
Okay.
later.
See you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.